Y'all, I just came out of the Target to get this dashboard mount for today's episode, and this gnat, just a attack gnat, just kamikazed right into my eyeball. So if I seem to be expressing a little more emotion than normal today, that'll be the reason why. All right. Hey y'all, Michael here with Life Along the Way, and doing a series called The Mission about our work that we do on the South Texas-Mexico border with Trinity on the border. Today is Friday, and this episode we're going to call Isaiah 55 Part 1, Crossing the Border. Isaiah 55 is a ministry in Reynosa, Mexico. It's on the other side, and they work with the deaf. It was who they originally worked with. They have a deaf school that teaches Mexican Sign Language. It's pretty awesome. They have, in the past 8 or 10 years, they've also relocated their main mission building into the poorest neighborhood in Reynosa. It's right outside of Boys Town, which is kind of the red light district, where kind of anything goes inside of the walls of Boys Town. They live right outside, or the mission's right outside of Boys Town. And so they also minister in that neighborhood to the poor people of that neighborhood. You can check out more of what they are doing at Isaiah55.org. It's Isaiah55, the numbers.org, Isaiah55.org, and see what they're doing. And what we're going to do today is I'm going to take you with me as I travel across the border, and then probably it'll be a separate episode where we'll give you a little tour of their mission and the communion service that we do over there. Back before the pandemic, I would go over there most Fridays and lead the staff with in a communion service, and the staff is primarily American, but some Mexican staff as well. The service we do in English, and they have their kind of the whole Friday afternoon is reserved for staff meal. I have a meal with them. We do communion, and then they have a kind of a formational staff time of prayer and whatever, and afterwards. So I haven't been over there in several months since the pandemic shut down a lot of things, a lot of crossing back and forth across the border. So this is my first time to go back in several months, so I'm excited about that, to see those guys again. And so we're going to get packed up here, and then I'll take you with me as we travel over there and get to the other side of the border. And this is my trusty tool bag, porta cable, that I use to transport all of the communion stuff. We have jars provided by Mason. Kerr. They're not sponsoring. And has the wine in it. Bags provided by looks like Walmart. They're also not sponsoring yet. And with hosts in it, and then Chalice and Patton from back at my time of my ordination. I received this, so it travels with me over there, and we'll go over there, and we'll have a good time just showing you the process of getting over the border, and then on the next episode we'll look at the communion service as well. All right. In case you're wondering, I have a folded up cloth in here that kind of keeps everything separate so it doesn't break while it's in there. This is Father Daniel.
Good morning.
Father Daniel, since we, and as I talked about in the episode on touring the mission, we're having our worship services outside right now. So Father Daniel spends his Friday mornings doing yard work and getting everything ready for us to have our worship services there. Yeah. So good deal.
Cantemos, Señor.
coming up here in a second is the Santa Maria mission. It's an old, it's just a little church building that it's uninhabitable right now. But I've heard a lot of different stories and about it, and the one that I believe is correct is that it was the first missionaries in this area were the Oblate Fathers, and they would travel around on horseback and to the different areas and the different communities. And I believe that there was an Oblate Father from Brownsville, which is about 35, 40 minutes drive from here. And he would come up and spend a few days here in the community, and was building the mission himself, literally building the mission, the brick by brick. And so I love thinking of that story. But the reason I wanted to tell you that is because I think about, oftentimes I'm thinking about my time. There's many times I'm going over to Isaiah 55, and I will leave our mission at maybe 10 o'clock in the morning, and especially before I was able to afford the kind of express card to get back into the U.S., sometimes I wouldn't get back to Harlingen until 4 o'clock, 4:30 in the afternoon. So six and a half hours of travel to go over to be with the missionaries over there. And not that they're not worth it if you're watching, but I would only be with them for maybe an hour, 2 hours of that time. And I often was thinking about that, is this a good use of my time? Is this a good use of my supporters' resources, and that sort of thing? And I've thought about those priests that would come up from Brownsville on a donkey, and they would travel to these different communities out here, so that the people in that area could have communion. And 100 years ago, it seems very romantic, right? It seems very noble that they would travel on horseback or on a mule or a donkey or whatever to go all this way just so the people could receive the body and blood of Christ. And then I'm not sure what went through my mind, or why it was so big of a deal, but I began thinking, why is it such a big deal that I'm spending 4 hours? A lot of that is waiting in line at the Mexican on the bridge to come back into the U.S. But it made me challenge. What do I actually believe that I'm doing, right? What do I actually believe about the communion, about receiving the body and blood of Christ? And it's important for our faith, for our growth in Christ, for our mission in the world. Do I really believe the things that I say, the things that we pray in the liturgy, or do I not? And if I do, then yeah, it is of immense importance to make the journey and to be with Isaiah 55 in that way. So I just tell you that story because oftentimes when you're down here, and I spend a lot of time in the car, and it's a 45 to 50 minute drive from Harlingen to Reynosa, where we work with Isaiah 55, and it's 30 minutes from Harlingen to Matamoros, which is where we work in the asylum, with the asylum seekers in the tent city. And oftentimes I'm thinking, is this good use of our time? And so I don't know. I share that story with you to kind of know what's going through my head oftentimes when I'm making this drive. So we got a ways to go still. So bear with me. We're gonna keep driving for a little bit longer. We'll see you when we get a little bit more ahead. All right. So we're we're coming into Hidalgo. We're about to cross over the border here. I got my mask on. It's my understanding that you have to wear a mask while you are driving in Mexico, and so I got my mask on, and we're going to pull up here, and we will cross. We have to go through a bridge, a toll booth or whatever, and got my trusty toll booth card that we pay for, and then we cross the river, across the border itself, and then when we get to the other side, we'll just kind of drive through Mexican customs. I don't know that you'll get to actually see that part. I'm not sure whether the legality of filming going through customs is, and so I don't know that I will be able to do that. But then you get a red light or a green light, and if you get a green light, then you just kind of keep going, and that's awesome. And if you get a red light, you have to pull over, and you talk with the customs people, and they'll speak in really, really, really fast Spanish. And I, with my bad hearing, and I generally don't have any idea what they're saying, so I just pretend I don't speak any Spanish at all, which usually just kind of gets me waved through. But sometimes they'll want to check the whole car, so going to make sure that you don't have anything like I don't know. We have a friend who's a minister down here who had tried to cross over into Mexico after being out at the gun range for a weekend, and had some shells in the back of his car, quite a few of them in fact, and got to spend a night in the pokey. But try not to do that, and so hopefully we'll cross without too much of an incident, and then we'll see you on the other side. That wasn't the green light I was talking about. We have another one up here when we get to the border customs, Mexican side. So right up here where you can see the street changing, and there's dots in the street here, that's where the international line is, and crossing the border. And then I'm gonna have to turn you off of this side. So we'll see how we do crossing here. Always a little bit hairy. And got a green light. Doesn't always mean you get to go straight through, because sometimes you'll get pulled over anyway. But we didn't get pulled over, and passed through customs and passing by the Army folks right now, the Marines. So, all right, folks. Looks like we made it. Thanks for watching Life Along the Way, the Mission series. This was part 1 of Isaiah 55, Crossing the Border. Oh, yet another interesting thing. I'm not real sure what this is all about. They told me it wasn't closed,